There are a huge number of reasons a melting Arctic matters to everybody. Some of them have to do with the way it influences the future trajectory of climate. Of course, if we're talking about ice on land, that has a lot to do with coastal risks. But even more than that, it has to do with changes in the way the global economy is going to work. I mean, where goods are going to be shipped, where they're going to be delivered, whether there are indigenous cultures that are thriving along Arctic habitats. There are just so many places where issues can bubble out of a place where they originate and have a global impact. And one of the things people don't often realize is that there are fundamental physics that require that once you pass a certain amount of ice loss on either Greenland, which is order 7 meters of sea level equivalent, or West Antarctica, which is order another 5 meters of sea level equivalent, the process becomes essentially unstoppable even if warming stops. The melting probably requires hundreds of years, but the idea that we're committed to many meters of sea level rise has a truly existential quality for people around the world. Fundamentally important. And I think it's a critical driver of the thinking about the 1.5 versus 2 degree target for the Paris Agreement. A second really critical threshold has to do with commitment to biodiversity loss. We know that once you lose a species, you never get it back. And there have been compelling arguments put forward that we may already be at the early stages of a major mass extinction. Again, a heavy moral burden to bear, much in the same sense that Steve described in the clip. A third tipping point that we really want to be aware of is the initiation of vicious cycle feedbacks where we, as a consequence of changing the climate, initiate processes that further exacerbate the climate warming. And the best understood of those is thawing of permafrost, permanently frozen soils that have large amounts of organic matter in them that when thawed basically decompose really rapidly, releasing a combination of carbon dioxide and methane to the atmosphere, potentially in a way that could become unstoppable. Those three tipping points, I think, really shape the science of where we are now. We're highly confident that there is a tipping point out there somewhere. We're not highly confident about where it is, and there is, as a consequence of those two things, a compelling motivation to take a precautionary approach.